Henrietta Chevalier, a Maltese woman of British nationality resident in Rome, was a critical node in Monsignor Hugh O'Flaherty's Rome escape line, network operating in the Vatican during World War II. Chevalier was born Henrietta Sherry to Emanuel Sherry and Maria Nimamo. Henrietta was known to everyone as Chetta. She married Thomas Chevalier on the 15 May 1920 at Our Lady of Sacred Heart in Slima. The couple lived in Rome, where Mr. Chevalier worked as an agent for the British travel company Thomas Cook & Sons, and had several children. Despite the loss of her husband in the early 1939, and despite finding herself a widow with 6 children, 4 daughters and 2 sons, and an aging mother to look after, Chetta Chevalier was to form a crucial role within the Rome escape line, assisting an estimated 4,000 civilians, refugees and Allied prisoners of war in avoiding capture by the German Gestapo. One of her sons was imprisoned as Italy entered the war due to being a British subject, while her other son, Paul, was a clerical officer with the Swiss legation. Therefore, his diplomatic papers ensured his freedom. The youngest daughter had been sent to a convent, while Henrietta, her elderly mother, and her 5 other daughters lived in a small 3rd-floor apartment in Via Imperia, just outside the Vatican. Chevalier essentially gave O'Flaherty carte blanche to use her apartment as a storehouse and safe house for people fleeing fascism. Despite several close scrapes, including one which one of her daughters, Gemma, hid from Chevalier, and being under constant surveillance by Hitler's regime, Chevalier and her family continued their clandestine activities under constant risk of death until being evacuated by O'Flaherty's network one by one to a farm on the outskirts of the city, where they lived out the rest of the war in hiding themselves. Henrietta's task was to act normal, the widowed mother of 6 children living in Rome. Yet she was instrumental to hiding several Poles and Jews in her home, preparing food to feed the several people hiding in varied hideouts around Rome. Her life between September 1943 and June 1944, during which period the Rome escape line was active, was highly dramatic, with great risk-taking and danger. Eventually, Henrietta Chevalier returned to Malta after the war. She apparently returned alone, since her children, probably married, moved elsewhere to remain in Italy. Miss Chevalier, who also had some nursing experience, used a venture out and provide medical assistance to various escapes around the city with Milko Skofic, a Yugoslavian. She made everyone feel welcome. At Christmas, she served brandy instead of tea. Christmas gifts were exchanged among the family and the 3 British lodgers. Eventually, it was felt that Mrs. Chevalier and her family, due to the close scrutiny, should be evacuated, and one by one they left and were brought to a farm on the outskirts of the city. All organizations' members held code names. Mrs. Chevalier was known as Mrs. M, Brother Robert Pace, White Bows, Father Gaia, Sailor, and Father Borch, Grop. Rome, 1944. She made sure to make everyone welcome. A senior British officer, John Fonan, who also acted as a main operator of the Rome Escape organization, praised Mrs. M as a beacon of light in times of terror. What can be said of the incredible woman? I would not call her brave, for it seemed to me she had no conception of fear. Her kindness and generosity were unparalleled. Her maternal spirit and compassion boundless, said John Fuhrman in his biography notes. In 1945, Chevalier was awarded a British Empire Medal for her extraordinary efforts to offer sanctuary to those in need. Her efforts were credited with directly offering assistance to 4,000 people during the war. She is buried at the Santa Maria Dolorata Cemetery in Paola. Her grave can be found in Division East, Section A, Compartment 1, Number 6. In Malta, nobody apparently took notice of her. From then onwards, little, if anything, was heard about her, and she passed away quietly in 1973 at the age of 72 years.